Okay, so some more thoughts on Christmas. I don't actually think there's anything wrong with gathering, with lights and decorating and gift giving and all of that. I think the biggest problem is the lies. And I get where Christmas can be used as an evangelical opportunity to tell people about the birth of Jesus. But the problem with that is it's based like this isn't actually the time of year that it happens. So, I mean, if we're gonna be honest to people, like oftentimes people will say Christmas is the reason for or Jesus is the reason for the season, or, just asking people, well, why do we celebrate Christmas? And then going into the Jesus story. But if we're gonna be honest, it's actually why do we celebrate Christmas? Because Jesus was born in the spring. It's like, that doesn't make sense. So, in some ways, it's like, well, okay, so one, it's nice that there is a holiday that is actually historical and based around God in this season, Hanukkah. So we wouldn't have to not celebrate anything during this season. We could actually celebrate Hanukkah, and we could still talk about Jesus being God's presence with us and him being the light of the world, and then even talk about his birth in that, with God's presence with us coming as a baby. And even though it happened in the spring, um so a lot of people, some people think it happened in the fall, some people think it happened in the spring. um Listen to Jonathan Kahn on that. He has a really good video that talks about when the birth of Jesus and happened, and it's pretty convincing. At least it convinced me. But anyway, so but regardless, okay, so that is a thing though. If it were really important to God for us to celebrate Jesus' birthday, he probably would have told us when it was, and we probably would have record of the early church fathers celebrating it, and we don't. And so that's just something. Not that I think it's wrong at all to talk about his birth. Obviously, that's great, and to celebrate him coming to be with us is amazing. So I think the hardest thing is the lies that surround Christmas. All of them, with Santa and elves and reindeer, and even Jesus being born at this time, because he wasn't. So I think gathering with family is great. Gifts, exchanging gifts, honoring each other, just connecting with one another, they're all great things. I think the hardest part is the lies. And then, okay, so also with gathering, well, I mean, it's just nice that Hanukkah is in the same time period. But also with gathering, I mean, so Christians celebrate two holidays that God never told us to, Christmas and Easter, both of which have pagan roots, and we neglect to celebrate the 7 holidays that he actually did tell us to. And then there are even more that we could celebrate with the Jews if we wanted to. Like Hanukkah is not actually a holiday that God told us to celebrate, but it is a great holiday to remember, and Jesus celebrated it. So, I mean, it makes sense for us too. Any excuse to party, right? And then even with Easter, so God set up the Feast of First Fruits, which is when Jesus actually rose from the dead. If we were to celebrate that, celebrating his resurrection is built into the biblical holidays. So anyway, there would be plenty of opportunity for us to gather and commune even more than we do if we were to celebrate the biblical holidays, which is, I would say, one of the main advantages of Christmas is gathering. And so anyway, yeah. So in some sense, Christmas is good in honoring Jesus and his birth and celebrating him coming to be with us. And I just don't know how we can do that without lying about it. That's the hardest part, is not that he didn't come, but he didn't come in the winter. I mean, that's just known. So yeah, I don't know what to do with that. But God tells us over and over again that he hates lies. That's like one of the huge things that he hates is lies, deception. And yet we surround Christmas with a lot of deception. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to do with that, but those are some of my thoughts anyway.